Hi, everybody. Welcome to my new podcast, episode 65, Accessibility and Vulnerability. Speaking of podcast, it's amazing wherever I go, I run into people that have no idea what a podcast is. Probably the older generations, but in case you don't know or you want to tell somebody else what podcasts are, I'd love for you to tell them about my podcast. If you like it, go to hansfinzel.com/podcasts, and I have a little 3.5-minute YouTube video on what is a podcast, how do you find them, how do you listen to them, how do you subscribe. Well, I'm in a 10-part series on Learn to Lead. 10 essential skills every new leader must master. LEA. The A in leadership, part 3, stands for accessibility. And also in this podcast is vulnerability. Accessibility and vulnerability. How accessible are you as a leader? You know, you can be too accessible, and I talk about boundaries in this podcast, but it's also important to be accessible to your people, to be available when they need you. I find that today people want to walk with their leaders shoulder to shoulder. They do not like leaders that are hidden away in the corner office or upstairs or in their ivory tower. They want accessibility. Now, I'll unpack what that is. Along with that is vulnerability. How vulnerable are you? Recently, the women's U.S. soccer team won the world championship, and a lot of us were glued to those final games. You know, a guard guards the net of the goal, and a goal that is not guarded is vulnerable. How about you in your heart? How much do you guard your heart? You know, I have struggled my whole life with issues of guarding my heart too carefully, and I've learned I have to be more vulnerable. It's allowing people to see your weakness, to let people into your heart. So every effective leader has to learn to be accessible and vulnerable. I hope you'll enjoy episode 65 in the Leadership Answer Man.